Using Interwrite IWB software in your classroom, basic training course. Using the Resource tab, Public and Guest Galleries. As shown to you previously, there is a tab on the right-hand side of your screen called Resource. If you click on the tab, it will open up this column. You have two galleries of clip art in this particular Resource tab. If you select the plus sign next to Public Gallery, this will give you a drop-down menu. If you continue to hit the plus sign, it will continue to drop down until you reach the topic that you would like, and then you can have a look at all the clip art, in this case, that has to do with biology. If you find something that you would like to use, you simply click on it and drag it to the main screen. All the clip art comes up fairly large, but the great thing about it is the pixels are quite fine, so that you can expand something without losing the quality of the image. You can pull on that white circle, and therefore you will get the size of the image that you want. You've got your green circle here, which allows you to twist and turn things, so if you need to change the angle, you can. And once again, you've got your Edit tab. This will allow you to lock things in place so that it can no longer be shifted, and to unlock it, just go back and unlock it that way. To remove clip art from the screen, use your Select Object to tap on the item, and then select the red X to remove it from your screen. To close down the tabs, just simply continue to hit the minus sign, and that will close that up, and we can close this up again. You also have templates here as well for things like music and language grids. Also, any sport, under court is all your sporting fields, so that you can use those as well. The second gallery is called Guest, and My Library is the main feature here. My Library, you are allowed to save your own photos, clip art, pages, so that you can use these easily when you're working in the Interwrite program. Up above here we've got Google Image. If you type in a term and you are connected to the internet, this will take you to Google Images, and you will search for that particular item that you want to have a closer look at. When you find something that you want to use, right click on it and hit copy, and then come back to your main page and just select the paste button, and that will allow you to paste this onto the screen. You can make this bigger or smaller depending on the quality of the actual pixels themselves. If you decide you want to add this to your gallery, to My Library, select the Resource tab, tap on the word My Library, and then hit the down arrow and Add Category. And then hit OK. You'll see now that one of the categories listed is this African animals. I can click on this so that it's highlighted. I then need to go down to the Auto Hide button and untick the box. I can then just click and drag that image into the column, and there you see it is here. I can edit the caption, and that will remain that way until I go back and change it. I can use this again by just clicking and dragging the image onto the screen. Even if I don't save this particular presentation, because I've saved this into my gallery, it will remain there until I go to the down arrow and hit delete this resource. It'll always prompt you to see if you do want to delete it. When you hit OK, it's now gone. By the same token, if you want to, you can delete the category as well. And then just hit OK. The other tabs at the top with the flowers on them refer to the different drives of your computer. So if you have a USB drive with some photos or whatever in it that you want to capture, you'll be able to actually click on that and open up the individual drives. The last one goes straight to the libraries of your computer, to My Pictures, and if you click on this, you're then able to select photos that you may want to use specifically from your computer in the My Pictures section. I recommend that you untick Auto Hide when you're looking at things in the Resource tab, and this will enable you to pull out multiples of the clip art without having to close that tab down every time. I'll click it now to close it down. So just to reiterate, to find an image, go to the Resource tab, go to the first tab that's here. I'm going to go to Public Gallery, Education, scroll down to find Science, and in this instance I'm going to look at finding some bees, so I'm going to go to the sky. Here's the bee, so I just click and drag it over. As I mentioned, once again, it's just a huge bee, but you are able to pull in on it using the white circle to get it to the size that you want. Remember, with the edit point you can clone one of them, and if you want to, you can flip this one horizontally. You can mirror him horizontally, so you get a few different ones that you can click and drag into the various spots on the screen. With regard to these clip art images, the very first thing that you add to your screen is considered the bottom layer, and all the subsequent bits of clip art will be on top of that. So that in this instance the butterfly was the very first thing that I added to the screen. So now it's being hidden by that particular image that's there. I want to bring this to the top layer. So to do that, I would go to the down arrow and I would select Graphic Layer and make this the top layer. And now this will easily float over that particular image that's there. Something else to keep in mind with the edit point, you'll see that the box next to zoom is ticked. If I untick this box, this allows me to distort the actual shape of that particular butterfly. If I go back and make sure that box is ticked, all I'm able to do now is to make it larger or smaller and keep everything in proportion. You may also want to group these images together, so that to do this you use your select object, and starting on the outside of all the objects you want to group, just drag a box, and you'll notice that there are a number of blue boxes now forming around those images. Just select any one of the down arrows, the edit points, and go to the word group and then group again, and now this is one whole image. I can make it bigger or smaller, and if I want to, if I go to the resource bank, come down to My Library, I can type in a category, and then unticking the auto hide box, I can click and drag that image into my library. Hit the down arrow and edit the caption. Oops. And then click out of it. The next time I want to use this image, I just click and drag it to the main screen. Once again, to get rid of an image, I need to just hit the X that's there and it will be removed. And if you hit the undo button, you can bring it back. Redo will take it away again. And remember that anything that is saved in My Library will be saved automatically, even if you don't save the presentation you're working on. By the same token, we can ungroup this by going to group again, but this time selecting ungroup. And you'll notice all those blue boxes have come back. To separate them, tap outside the blue boxes, and then you're able to move each one of those things individually. This is some examples of using graphic layers to give you a self-correcting exercise. The first example is this one here. If it's a correct answer, you'll get a happy face. If it's not a correct answer, you'll get a sad face. So if we pick this word here, you can see that that's not the correct word, whereas if we pick this one, it is the correct word. So with this, what I've done, these little images here have been locked in place, but they actually come from the Education Gallery under Special Needs, and then Emotion, and a variety of different faces will appear, and there's the sad face and there's the happy face. So you've got a few different clip art icons that you can use. So initially I put this on the screen first, so that's on the bottom layer, and I've locked it in place. With these two here, I've grouped them together. So initially I'll ungroup them just to show you what I did. So I created the box first using the images that are here, and I made sure that using my properties toolbar that the outline is black, but there is a fill and it's white, and then I've just created a box. I then typed the words there using the fonts that you see here on the screen, and once the word is typed, and this is typed afterwards, so it will go to the graphic layer and top layer, and it will sit on the top of that. I can then drag a box over these two, go to group and group, and now that's one whole thing, so that I can cover that on top of the word itself. For this particular one here, the box has been put on the screen last, and it's locked in place, so this is the top layer. And then with each of the individual numbers, if it is a factor of 21, it will sit sit on top of the green square. If it's not, it will sit underneath. And the way that you would do that is to individually touch each one and decide whether you want it to be on the top layer or whether you want it to be on the bottom layer. So that this one now will be hidden. This one is. This one isn't. So that's a good self-correcting exercise. This particular diagram of the ear is in the resource bank under Science and Biology, and each of the parts is labeled. You are able to use that same method I just used before, where you create a box and make sure that it is the graphic layer, it's the top layer, and you can then cover up the words that are there and click and drag them away to reveal the answer. Adding your own clip art from other sources. To do this, you would go down to Insert, Insert Media, from File. And then you'll need to go and find where your images are that you want to use. If this is the image that I want, I'll just select Open, and there's the image on the screen. I'm able to minimize this to get it to whatever size I want it to be, and now it's on my screen. Now if I want to save this into my gallery, then I'd have to follow the method that you see here. So I'm just going to go back and click on this. I'm going to just copy this for the minute, and I'll hit the paste button. So there's my image. This is what I want to add to my gallery. So once again, I would come to My Library, go to the down arrow, add a category, once I have that, I click OK, and now I can highlight that, make sure the auto hide box is unticked, and then it's just a matter of clicking and dragging that into that space. I can then click on it, go to the down arrow, edit the caption, and the next time I want to use it, it's just a matter of dragging it out, and there it is. Once again, to get rid of it, just highlight it and then select the red X. And this will indicate to you the methods for adding clip art to your library. Thank you for viewing this tutorial. For further information, contact us by email info@eduss.com.au.